Hello, welcome back. It's Matt, it's intheinaka. So this is going to be the first video in a series of videos that I hope to release detailing my thoughts on various Japanese language learning resources, both online resources and physical resources that you can either use for free, usually online, or purchase for yourself to help aid your Japanese language learning experience. And so today I want to look at a website that I think is really useful, particularly for Japanese language learners of kind of a lower intermediate level or up. Um, and you'll see why that is when we get to look at the website. But the website is nihongokyoshi.net. And this literally means Japanese teacher. And it's a really interesting website. I think it's developed by a single person, updated by a single person. But it's a really nice, easy to use website that's really good for quizzing yourself and finding resources on vocabulary, grammar, all the various important parts of the language that you need to build when you are on a language learning journey. So this video, the bulk of this video, it's not going to be a particularly long video. I don't want to make these videos too long. I just want to give general introductions to these resources, just so that you know that you're out there, and give an overview of what I really like about them, and then you can sort of take a look for yourself and judge whether you think that it's kind of resource that is going to be useful for you on your journey, particularly with the free resources like Nihongo Kyoushi. I won't go too in depth. I want to make the videos accessible and easy to watch. And then you can check them out yourself and make up your own mind on whether you think it's the right sort of resource for you, where you are in your language learning journey. For other resources, pricier resources like textbooks, I've got quite an extensive textbook collection that I want to review as well. Those I will probably go into a bit more depth, a bit more detail, so that you can make a more informed decision before going out and spending your own money on a physical resource such as a textbook. But for the websites like this, I'm just going to kind of give you a quick overview. So let's dive in and have a look at nihongokyoshi.net. So this is the homepage for Nihongo Kyoshi. And as you can see, it's quite clean, it's quite modern, it's up to date, and it's always being updated. You can see here at the top, right off the bat, we've got several sections within the website. Each one of them is subtitled with the English translation, although I would say that this is a website that you probably want to have an intermediate level of Japanese before you try and use it to supplement your Japanese study, because although these headings are translated into English, the vast majority of the website is only in Japanese. And so if we go here to the recent post section at the top, you can see that it's still a very active website. The website creator is writing articles almost daily. They're generally these short, almost online flashcard type articles that introduce a word or a concept. And here we have a little sort of homophone breakdown where the author breaks down two words that are pronounced the same, hishi, but breaks down the different kanji that they use and the different meanings for each of the words. And so there's a lot of these sort of posts on the website, and it's really interesting. It's just a nice, easy way to kind of supplement your everyday Japanese language learning. There's a section on materials, which basically show you the various textbooks and study materials that you can use to both learn Japanese and teach Japanese to non-native speakers. So you've got Minna Nihongo, the Genki textbooks, various things like that. There's a section on lesson plans from each of these textbooks. And so there's a lot of resources for you if you're thinking about teaching Japanese to others as a second language. But I still think Nihongo Kyoshi is a really useful website, even for those who are self-studying, because there's a lot of information on games and activities that you can use to teach yourself Japanese. And And there is a section that I like to come and use, which is the study section. And it's very helpfully broken down into various JLPT levels. And I think obviously a lot of people who are going to be coming to Nihongo Kyoshi, people who are looking for information on the website, probably people who are thinking about teaching themselves Japanese, learning Japanese, and perhaps taking the Japanese language proficiency test in the future. And so you can come in here and you can choose the various levels, obviously starting down at N5, and you can go on to each section and it will show you various quizzes for your vocabulary, for kanji, for katakana, grammar, all these various things that you'll come across within the JLPT. And this, I think, is my favorite part of Nihongo Kyoshi, is these various little quizzes. And there's quite a lot of them. Each quiz, let's take a look at one of the kanji quizzes here. Each quiz comes with, I believe, 10 questions. So this comes with 10 questions. It comes with a vocabulary list at the bottom. And so, say, within the JLPT N5 kanji quiz section, you've got 7 parts to the kanji quiz. That's 70 different questions, various useful vocabulary listed at the bottom. And so there's just quite a lot of useful ways to test yourself if you're thinking about taking the JLPT in the future. You can go to the official JLPT website and download a test quiz, but there's only one, and this is just a good way to sort of expand your options for practicing for the JLPT and testing yourself on the question formats that will actually turn up in the JLPT. There's also an app that you can download with these flashcards and quizzes so that you can keep studying these on the go. Everything is quite nicely designed and laid out, so it's just very easy to use, very intuitive, and I just find it a really useful study resource for brushing up before taking the JLPT, and for when I just want to kind of check that my grammar knowledge in particular is up to scratch. So I quite often find myself in the N2 or the N1 section, just retaking some of these quizzes and just testing myself to make sure that my Japanese knowledge is still up to scratch. And so the other section that I think is really useful as well is the tools section. And if you come here, then you can find the quiz making website, and say you click on the vocabulary quiz here, it takes you to the Nihongo vocabulary quiz section of the website, and basically you can choose various quiz modes and test yourself on certain things. So it will give you a vocabulary quiz here on a certain type of vocabulary. So a mansion is a condominium, and you can go through this process of choosing the various vocabulary, multiple choice questions. Cafe is, surprisingly enough, cafe. But if we go back out of this, you can also break it down by JLPT section, and it takes you to the JLPT quiz maker. And although this seems to not have too many user-generated quizzes, which seems like it'd be quite a useful part of this website, so you can create quizzes for yourself and for others. But you can basically break this down by JLPT level. Let's go into, let's do a grammar quiz, and let's hit search. And so I think under the JLPT N2 grammar, you just get basically the quizzes that are on the main website, but different sections will have some user-generated quizzes. But this is just perhaps a nicer way of doing the quizzes that actually lets you know whether you've got the right answer straight away. It's just a bit more interactive, a bit more fun. And so you get it set out as if it was a JLPT test question, and then you read the question, and then select what you think is the correct answer. So I'm not actually going to do this properly, but it'll tell you then what the actual answer is if you get it wrong. or if you get it right, you'll get a nice little happy noise. So there you go. If you select the right answer, then it tells you so. So that's just another nice little part of the website that I think is really useful if you're studying for the JLPT, or if you just want to brush up on your Japanese language skills and test yourself. Nihongo Kyoushi is a really good website for that, so check it out. Like I said, probably best for sort of at least lower intermediate students who will be able to navigate the site a bit more easily. If you're a complete beginner, then you're probably not going to be able to find your way around the website effectively, and there's other resources that are going to be better for you in terms of building up that base knowledge of Japanese. But if you do have the confidence in your Japanese enough to be able to navigate the website, then I recommend checking out Nihongo Kyoshi, doing the JLPT quizzes, using the various kanji, grammar, vocabulary flashcards, and just taking advantage of it as one of the many really great online resources for teaching yourself Japanese.